how to actually find a good MMA gym. Now yesterday what we went through is types of MMA gyms, but we didn't cover the key factors to actually find these gyms if you don't know where to start. So let's get into this video. I've done this quite a lot from going on my travels, and this is what I have found out on the way. First off, finding a reputable gym for my wants and needs. So this is going to be a little bit different depending on what your wants and your needs are, like we went through yesterday, your purpose and the training environment you like to train in. First off is word of mouth. Now this is from friends, maybe it's from people that you've networked, or people that you've just found in maybe a weights gym, and they've talked about boxing, they've talked about Muay Thai, and they've recommended a certain gym. This happened to me when I wanted to start MMA, and there was a boxer called Harry Matthews. He recommended a gym to my dad, and that is why I first went to that gym. I found out about that gym and then I contacted that gym. So word of mouth is a key factor. Next one is ask your friends questions. Because normally, if you want to go to an MMA gym, your friends probably have a similar motive, and they've probably been as well. So if you've got friends that go to MMA gyms, ask them questions. And another little trick that I like to do is search for local MMA fighters within your area, and then see what gym they're at. See what gym they're at, and if they're at that gym and they're doing quite well, the gym is probably pretty good. They're probably going to coach you, they're probably going to teach you, and they're going to show you the art of combat. And another little trick that you can do is message them, because people have a persona that fighters are very, very nasty people, but really, we're quite nice. So if someone messaged me asking for a recommendation within the Manchester area or the York area or the Leeds area, they're the three areas that I know within England, I'd give them recommendations. If they asked me within Thailand, same again in America. In San Diego, I kind of know gyms in those areas because that is where I've trained personally. Now, what happens if none of my friends train? It's a little bit harder then. We've got to do a little bit more thinking in order to get the right gym for ourselves. So first off, everyone's got this. Everyone. And that is Google. Use the Google. Next off, the Instagram. The Instagramo. We're going to use these two, and we're going to search for local gyms. Now, you've got to search these correctly. So this is some examples that are put in. If you want to do MMA and you live in York, put MMA gyms in York. Don't just put fighting in York, because you might get self-defense and stuff like that coming up, which isn't really applicable to learn combat sport. Another example, boxing gyms in York, if you want to learn boxing. Now, once you've found a particular one that tickles your pickle, you're going to look at the reviews. And reviews come by through Google, it can go through Instagram, it could go through Facebook, it could go through even LinkedIn, but that's not really that common. But you're going to find this gym through either Google or Instagram. You're then going to look at the reviews of what that gym has. They might not always have reviews, so look at the fighters it's produced out of that gym. Because if it's producing a lot of fighters, it is most likely going to be a good gym, especially if they've started there and they started from scratch. Because how are you going to do this? You're going to look, by doing that, look at the coach's resume. And that is a big thing. If you are getting taught by someone, you want to know the resume of that particular coach, because it's ultimately they're going to coach you. And this is where another little tip that I'll give you is look at the gym timetable. From the gym timetable, you can factor two things. Don't know why I put one finger up. Two things, yeah, we're going to do it like this. Number one, is it a bluff gym? Because we know we don't like bluff gyms. I've talked about them yesterday. Don't get me started on the bluff gyms. Or number two, is it a promising gym? And I'm not going to say, is it a proper gym? Is it a fighter's gym? Or anything like that. Because we don't know yet. We've never been. So we're going to say, is it a promising gym? How do we define between the two? Now this is where, if they have classes saying self-defense class in the timetable, we're looking at that bluff gym there. that bluff gym, and that means no, we're not going. But if it's got stuff from certain disciplines, for example, boxing, Muay Thai, Jiu-Jitsu, and then MMA, that is a promising gym. The timetable says that is promising. But if it goes self-defense, blah, blah, something else, self-defense, nope, that is not promising. That is what you call bluff. So remember what we say there. See you later, alligator, bull stop, in a bit, we're not off there. And I'd say the biggest thing really is giving it a try. Go and give a gym a try, because realistically, people think gyms have got this persona of being intimidating, which they can be, and fighters are not very nice and they're rude. But really, we're quite the opposite. So give it a try, and let me tell you something. If you don't feel welcome at that gym, and you don't feel welcome at all, I'm going to say it's probably not the right gym for you. They're probably not going to be the correct fit for your wants and needs. And this is where trial and error will come into place. Go to one, try a session. If you're not too sure, try another session. And then thinking, is this the right gym for me? Yes or no. If it's not, and there's quite a lot of gyms in your area, go to the next one. If it is sweet, stay at that gym. And then you found your gym. And at any one point you don't feel comfortable or you don't like it, that is totally cool. Try another gym. And that is the process of doing trial and error. Now, my top tips when finding your gym or finding your coach. Number one, these two first bullet points are key, because everyone thinks a good fighter is a good coach, and it's far from it. A good fighter does not equal a good coach. A good fighter does not equal a good coach. And also, a good coach also doesn't equal a good fighter. So this means, if you're a good fighter, it doesn't always mean you can coach. And if you're a good coach, it doesn't always mean you were a good fighter. You want a coach to have experience. Yes, that is a big yes. If your coach has never had a fight, nah, just don't. Because when they're telling you stuff, you can't relate. And I'm going to think, if a coach is telling me, dig deep, or you could do this, or they're going to go a bit personal into me, I'm not going to respect them. They're not going to have the authority to me, because I'm going to be like, well, you didn't fight. You never push yourself like this. So you got to have that sort of mutual respect where they've had fights before and they've got experience. So they need experience, they need receipts. That is a big thing. But they don't have to be a world beater. They don't have to have fought in the UFC to be a good coach. They just need the experience, so then they can relate and they have the authority on you, because at the end of the day, they're going to be a coach. So attributes that I'm going to look for: good communication. Now, they could be amazing. They could have everything in the bank. They could be 10 out of 10 up here with all the knowledge and the techniques they know. But if their communication is 2 out of 10, their techniques is only ever going to look like 2 out of 10. So you're going to need a good person that is good at communicating to make those techniques come across to you so you can learn them. Everyone learns in different ways. I am a learner that learns on the spot. I like doing it. I like seeing it. Visual, and I don't know what the other one is, where you do it on the spot. I like drilling it out. So that is what I like personally. Another thing is being able to break down techniques in simple steps. Sometimes techniques can be very, very complicated. And when you've got a coach that breaks it down in simple steps, it makes life a whole lot easier. A whole lot easier. And what I've already mentioned is message a local fighter. We're not knobs, we're not dicks, we're humans, and we're here to help you. So if someone messaged me, like I've already said, and they want to try a gym out or they want some advice, I'm going to give it hands down. My top tips out of this is, a great fighter doesn't always mean a good coach. So if you're thinking, I'm going to go there because he's the best fighter, it doesn't mean you're going to learn the most. I've had amazing fighters, top level guys, trying to take a session, and I'll be honest, absolutely dog shit. But I've had mediocre guys take sessions, and they've been the best sessions I've ever taken in my life. So remember those 2 points. Now, how do I find it? How did I find it? Now, because I've been on my travels, I've been to a few gyms, and what I did, I searched the area. So we are going to take this, for example, this picture in the background, this is me in Phuket top team in Thailand. Now what I did do first, I asked for advice and I looked at the fighters within the gym. All points that I've said already. But I wanted to go to Phuket top team. I knew no one there. No one. So what I did first, looked on the Instagram, a point that I've already said. I then went through and seen what fighters it is produced. What shows are they on? Are they on One? Are they on UFC? I then looked at the coach. I looked at the coach and I seen what his name was. I then searched his name. His name there is Eric Uresk. So I searched his name. I then seen he trained in America. He fought Frankie Egner. He'd been around the block. He'd been at Phuket top team, I think, over 5 years at the time. He wrestled in college. He trained with Dominic Cruz. So he had all this sort of experience. And not only that, that was more the fighting side. Coaching wise, he'd coached one championship many times. I believe he had 2 world titles in one championship. He'd coached Dominic Cruz as well. So I'd seen fighters that he'd coached. Another one, Terry Brazier at the time. He'd coached him through Bellator. So I looked at the fighters it produced, or he produced, and they were pretty damn good. And they were definitely better than me at the time. So then I made a few contacts, a few messages to help with mutual friends to put a connection in for me. I got a guy at the time to message Eric for me at the time, ask about the professional sessions to see if I could come along. And he invited me down. And that is my first attempt at going to Phuket top team. And what it was a 2-week trial. That 2-week trial was enough for me. And I thought, I am coming back here. 6 months later, I came down to Phuket top team for 6 months. So I used the strategy, as you can see here, give it a try, trial and error. I gave it a try for 2 weeks, trial and error, and it was a gym for me. And that 6 weeks, I did 2 weeks at a Thai gym, 2 weeks at another Thai gym, 2 weeks at this MMA gym. And when I came back in 6 weeks' time, I was just stuck at that MMA gym. I don't know why I'm swearing. I stuck at that MMA gym, and that was me for the next 6 months. And that set me up to then go to America. But they are my top tips in order to finding the right gym for you. Because you can know these types of gyms, but finding that particular gym for you sometimes can be quite hard if you have never done it before. But remember, look at the fighters it has produced. That is my main point. My main point, and the second point is, a good fighter doesn't mean they're a good coach. So remember those 2 points when you're going through. That is today's video. Bish, bash, bosh, pow! Let's cover that camera, yeah?